Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're going to take a look at 15 spicy Great League Pokemon that you can build for Season 20 that all got buffed. Hopefully you enjoy this video, and a lot of people kind of want to see some more off-meta picks as well that have a lot of potential. Some of them actually here even kind of drop a bit of ranking compared to the last season, but still kind of should be very cool. So definitely if you enjoy this type of videos, feel free to leave a like and subscribe again. Thanks so much for the recent support on the channel, really appreciate it. Also appreciate my girlfriend here again doing the video background thing for me because yeah, I'm still kind of sick. So yeah, well, let's move on to the first one. We're going to have Donphan. Donphan is definitely one of the Pokemon that you kind of should actually build, which is kind of hilarious because we had actually a very solid moveset already before with Counter, Body Slam, and Earthquake. Body Slam getting a nerf, Counter getting a nerf, and still kinda ended up a little bit better. And the main reason for this one is A, the Trailblaze buff, and B, the Mud Step buff. This Pokemon ended up at a rank 59 and actually has quite a lot of potential in the current meta, being able to beat a lot of the current top meta Pokemon, something like Clodsire, because you do super effective damage with the Mud Step and you can boost your own attack with Trailblaze. And I think this Pokemon is going to be one of the most funnest pick there as well that you can run for the upcoming season. Also, if you want to see some IVs here, I'm gonna just put them in here as well for today's video. I'm not gonna talk too much about them, but if you want to pause the video for those, then feel free to do that. Next one, we're going to have Whimsicott. Whimsicott is going to be one of those that got a direct boost here with the Fairy Wind. Fairy Wind got a 1 extra damage, which is definitely going to be nice for it. Doesn't impact it too much, but I still would imagine that this Pokemon is going to be very solid for this current meta. Maybe not as great as in the last meta as well, but still something solid to build, especially after the Fairy Wind buff. Actually, the average, like the rating itself, kind of went a little bit down, while the ranking got a little bit better for it. Kind of interesting. This thing is going to be able to beat most ground-type Pokemon, which was like the main benefit, especially with the Mud Boys. There's still going to be something like Quagsire quite high up, so I would imagine this Pokemon is still going to have quite a lot of play. But yeah, definitely an interesting Pokemon here. For sure, still with Fairy Wind buff there, it's going to be a Pokemon that has a lot of potential for the upcoming season. Moving on, we're going to have a Togetic. Togetic is going to be, honestly, one of the Pokemon that I would really recommend you to even build, because there are not really a lot of good flying type Pokemon, and this Pokemon has Fairy Wind, which got buffed, Ariados, which was recently buffed as well, which makes it a very, very spammy attacker, and then Dazzling Gleam or Ancient Power, depending on what you really want to run. This thing actually is going to be a very, very solid pick here at rank 82. Definitely a very cool Pokemon to still get, especially after the buff there. Funnily enough, the average rating is the exact same as in the last meta, which is kind of hilarious, but you're gonna have a better win-to-loss ratio, which is definitely cool for it. But again, this is going to be one of the better flying type Pokemon you can build for the upcoming season. Moving on, we're going to have a Lokix here. Lokix is going to be one of the Pokemon that, again, they're kind of a little bit weird, because you have Counter, one of the best fast moves which got added onto the Pokemon, didn't really impact it too much, didn't really make it too great, and then it got the Sucker Punch buff, and honestly, this changed quite a bit for it. Getting up to rank 100 is kind of cool. Being in the top 100 over the Lokix is kind of ridiculous, but also Trailblaze got buffed, which makes this Pokemon even better. Because of the Sucker Punch damage buff, you're going to be able to also use like Trailblaze kind of fast to boost even more of your attack, and so this Pokemon can be quite deadly, especially against a lot of the ghost type Pokemon. They are going to be very common in this next season, especially something like a Golurk, something like a Dusknoir, or something like the Drifblim. Moving on, we're going to have Ariados here. This Pokemon got a double buff as well, with Poison Sting plus a Trailblaze both getting a little bit better, making this Pokemon for sure a top matchup for like the current meta as well. Being able to beat all those Fairy type Pokemon is going to be lovely for this thing. Also boosting its own attack with Trailblaze is going to be interesting. Could actually see that Trailblaze gonna get dropped for the Cross Poison on this Pokemon, making it even faster to get to a charge move too, which will be very interesting. But yeah, Ariados for sure something that is interesting for the new meta. Moving on, we're going to have take a look here at the Shadow Ninetales. Shadow Normal Ninetales here is going to be quite an interesting Pokemon. Actually, Ember was still preferred for this one last season. Now with another Fire Spin buff, this Pokemon is going to be better with Fire Spin, but honestly, if you played it like recently, I honestly really enjoyed it. Like, I would really recommend you to try this Pokemon out. I've made like a few videos over the last few seasons with this thing. It was always a lot of fun, especially I actually never really was going for Overheat anymore. I went for the Scorching Sands as your secondary charge move, which in my opinion is the better option for it as well. But yeah, generally speaking, Ninetales as a Shadow is going to be very, very cool for the new season. Honestly, this is one of the Pokemon that I kind of look forward the most to. It's going to be the Decidueye. Decidueye is going to have access to the new, or like before already had the move, of course, but to the buffed variant of Astonish. Astonish is going to be a Ghost type move now, of course. Going to have Stab, going to do a ton of damage. Also going to have very benefit from Spirit Shackle being a very cheap move, but also a move that can drop, I think, the opponent's defense, which is very cool for it as well. I would imagine this Pokemon is going to be very solid for the upcoming meta. You might think, oh, Astonish got buffed like crazy, why this Pokemon didn't go up that much. It's mainly because the Pokemon that it beat before were like Pokemon like an Annihilate, Pokemon like those Mud Boys, and all of those got nerfed as well, so that's why the buff itself to the Decidueye is maybe a little bit lower, but especially for limited metas, I would imagine this Pokemon is going to dominate. Like, the moveset is very good for it, and I can't wait to try out the Decidueye for the next season. Next one is going to be Forretress now. Forretress, again, is going to be a Pokemon that's kind of under the radar right now. This Pokemon is going to have access now to a Volt Switch, which is a very interesting change, and I honestly think this Pokemon is going to have a lot of potential for the upcoming season, being one of the Pokemon that can actually core break a lot of the current top meta picks, especially with the typing it has. It is just very, very bulky, has a great typing against the Fairy type Pokemon, and with Volt Switch, Earthquake, and Mirror Shot, you have great coverage against the current meta, and I would imagine that the Forretress is going to be a good Pokemon for sure. I think the normal variant is going to be a little bit better than the Shadow variant, so you don't even need the Shadow one for it. But even the average rating increased, the win-to-loss ratio increased, and it's like nobody's talking about it. Like, literally, it's ranked 246 right now, but I still think it should deserve a little bit of a higher placement. Moving on to the next one, we're going to have the Alolan Golem. This Pokemon is going to be a one that has access to the Rollout, which got buffed, and nobody was talking about this one yet. But honestly, I think this Pokemon is going to have quite a lot of potential, because now Rollout helps it out quite a bit with Rock Blast. Rock Blast is not really a charge move that does a ton of damage, but it's great as a bait, and also you have already like the rock type damage from Rollout, which got plus, I think, 3 damage output with it. So now you kind of definitely have an alternative to Volt Switch. Not too sure which moveset is directly better, but by the looks of things here, Rollout definitely helps Pokemon out quite a bit, increasing the rating by quite a bit as well, and I think it's going to be a fun Pokemon to run for the next season. We're staying here in Alolan now, we're going to have the Alolan Dugtrio. Dugtrio actually got access to Sand Attack, which was really cool for it before it as well. Got Mud Bomb, of course, as well as Iron Head. But for today's season, we're going to take a look here at a Mud Slap. Mud Slap is going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit, as it's going to be the best fast move for this thing, especially as a Shadow variant. You're going to do a lot of damage with this Pokemon, and together with Mud Bomb especially, you're going to have a great charge move combination with the fast move there, as well as Iron Head going to give you good coverage against the Fairy type Pokemon that are going to currently be available. I think this is going to be a great core breaker for the Clodsire Fairy type core, which is going to be something that you're going to see quite commonly, and so I think this thing is going to be a lot of fun. Next one, we're going to have Amoonguss. Amoonguss is going to be a Pokemon that is definitely going to be a little bit sus, but the Astonish buff is going to help this one out a bit here. Shadow bonus actually doesn't help this Pokemon at all, so you kind of want to have the normal variant of it. And of course, with the Astonish buff of like 3 more damage, you're going to climb up quite a bit, making a very solid grass type Pokemon to use. Is it going to be like the best grass type Pokemon ever? For sure not, but still a lot of fun, and so I think Amoonguss definitely should see some more play now, but maybe more also for limited metas. Moving on to the next next Pokemon, of course, it's going to be Shadow Magmar. Honestly, this is like the one Pokemon that I'm so sad about not having, because Karate Chop now making this Pokemon insanely interesting for the next meta, allowing it to climb up quite a bit in terms of the battle rating there as well. But Karate Chop, Fire Punch, Scorching Sands sounds like such a fun moveset there. And I would really want to run this Pokemon. Honestly, I think it's going to be a fun one to use. The Evolution and the Pre-Evolution both, I think, have access to Karate Chop as well, so might be also interesting Pokemon to use. But here, you kind of really would like to have a Shadow variant. Normal variants are not as great for it. But yeah, Karate Chop Magmar, I feel like has a lot of play, so I might still take a look at it, but not in the Shadow most likely. Next one, Oranguru. Oranguru is honestly one of the Pokemon that got a little bit of a nerf, but honestly a little bit more of a buff, to be fair. We're going to have here Confusion, Foul Play, and Future Sight. Future Sight got a nerf, but it doesn't really matter because the entire moveset kind of changes for the charge moves, going to Brutal Swing as well as Trailblaze, allowing you to beat most of the current Pokemon. And just honestly, this Pokemon has so much play now. Confusion plus Trailblaze is going to be kind of insane because Confusion damage is usually very good in the Go Bad League right now. And then Brutal Swing as like a cheap charge move is going to be very good for this Pokemon. Pokemon. So yeah, 2 new charge moves here for this thing compared to last season. And this Pokemon is going to be, especially for like limited metas, a threat that you really want to build. Next is going to be Cacturne. Cacturne is going to be one of the Pokemon that got a big buff this season as well. Sentec was already added to this Pokemon before, but now we're going to have also the Sucker Punch buff plus Trailblaze buff. So basically what this means is now you have a way better fast move. You're going to have the Grass Knot replaced with Trailblaze, allowing you to boost your attack even further. And for like such a squishy Pokemon, this is going to be a fun one to use. It is not going to be a great one. Don't get me wrong, like this Pokemon is not going to be overpowered or anything like this, but it's going to be fun to run. And I think that's kind of what it's all about in Go Battle League anyway. Like we don't always have to try completely hard. So Cacturne, for sure, a fun Pokemon to maybe take a look at for the Go Battle League. The final one here for today is going to be my Shadow Ampharos, and this Pokemon actually going to have a little bit of a decrease in rating. Why is it the case, and why do I still think it's worth it to build this Pokemon? It's quite simple. This Pokemon got access to the cheaper Brutal Swing now, which PvPoke didn't put into the rankings, even though I think it's going to be way better for it. So what you can do is, you can use it as a safe swap, having access to Trailblaze, which was cheaper, and now Brutal Swing, which is cheaper, making this Pokemon very spammy, and also kind of versatile, especially in the 2-shield scenario. I think this Pokemon is going to have way more play in the next season. Of course, the meta itself might be a little bit worse for it, because there are less fighting type Pokemon to counter, but still, I think this thing is going to have be a lot of fun, especially in the Ultra League as well. So for sure, Ampharos, something to look out for. If you have a good one, feel free to build one. But yeah, very low ranking, actually got dropped a little bit as well there, but I think it's going to actually have a little bit more impact next season with a little bit of a different moveset here as well, but I cannot change it on PvPoke, so it is what it is. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.